Hello. Good morning, afternoon, or evening for everybody. I don't necessarily know where you're joining from, but today we have another exciting episode where we have an expert that we're interviewing live, right? And that's going to be very interesting. So today, what we have the privilege of speaking to somebody that would say it's a visionary leader for what she's doing, right? Shaping the future of sustainable investment, also development in the country that I love Botswana. So if you know my story, you probably know why I love Botswana. So what I have joining us here is Shamil Agosi. She's the managing director of Square Gate Group, and that's a company at the forefront of driving impactful investment across key sectors like green energy, agribusiness, technology, and under the leadership that she's providing, the group is organizing a very interesting summit, Ideal Summit. So if you're around, you definitely want to attend that. That's a groundbreaking event focusing on inclusion, diversity, energy access, and local empowerment. That's why you have the acronym IDEAL, and it's an ideal summit to go to. Yeah, the summit will be taking place on March 19 in Botswana, and set to bring forward the strategic investors, policymakers, but also thought leaders that will actually talk about how you can unlock the country vast investment potential. Now, I've been to this country many times, and I can definitely tell you that's a place you want to go to and want to visit. And the work that Shamin is doing is not only transforming, I believe, the economic landscape of Botswana, but it also creating opportunities for sustainable growth and also community empowerment. So it'll be a pleasure for me to welcome Shamil in a minute. Hello again, welcome back. I'm Tony T. I'm the founder and CEO of Renewables in Africa. What we do is very simple. We raise awareness about renewables energy, but also sustainability. So if you're looking to break into the continent or expand into Africa, we are your eco bridge to this market, and we can help with three things: the visibility, the leads, and the deals. That's what we can do for you. Or if you're looking to decarbonize, again, we are your eco bridge to sustainable pathway, and we can help you with carbon footprint assessment, carbon reduction strategy, anything carbon. Just reach out to us. More than happy to talk to you. But today, as I say, I want to talk to somebody very interesting, Shamil. So let me just welcome Shamil with us in our studio. So Shamil, can you hear me?
Absolutely. Thank you, Tony.
Excellent. So, like I say, so I know you've been very busy going up and down, but it was very important for us to talk to you today. That's why we were actually prepared to wait all day if you need it.
I'm so sorry.
No. No need to apologize. I think things happen, and at the end of the day, we have this conversation here. So, Shamil, I did introduce you very briefly, but I'm not sure that I've given proper justice to the fantastic career that you're having so far, because you're still very young, lots of energy, ambitious. And I thought maybe you can, in your own words, share a few things about you so that people get to know who they have in front of them.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Tony. Hi, everyone, and greetings from Botswana. And shout out to all of you for joining us at this very critical hour. If you're in Southern Africa, it's probably lunchtime. So sorry for coming in between you and your meals. So my name is Shamil Agosi, and basically, I run a company called Square Gate Group. So, in terms of SquareGate, what we do is pretty simple, but yet complicated, right? We do ESG, meaning environment, social governance, consulting, as well as your sustainability advisory. But the interesting aspect of our job is about basically redirecting investments and helping projects to be investable, to be investor ready. So, thereby basically doing due diligence on various projects and helping them link up with potential investors that are basically a match for them. And in terms of my background, I've recently transitioned from being a vice president of a mining company based here in Botswana. The mine is called, okay, I won't mention the mine. I'm sure you can do your own little digging. But yes, and then in my previous life, I used to work in policy. doing policy advisory for the regional Southern Africa, regional community in Southern Africa, and then also a tiny wee bit of engagements with African Union. And I'm generally a very passionate person, and I basically love building. I'm obsessed with startup growth, and I love that process. So I hope I answered you, Tony, and thank you so much for the platform.
You very much answered it. And like I said, there's already a couple of very interesting things that you want to know. So, your journey is becoming the MD, the managing director of Square Gate Group. I actually like the name. It actually sounds quite well, right? So, and it definitely looks like something that inspired people. But I want to know, so what actually motivated you to build this company? So, what is actually your personal vision that is, I'm sure, shaping the company direction?
Absolutely. So thank you for that question, Tony. My vision for SquareGate and in leading SquareGate to where it is right now is essentially driven by my commitment to sustainable development and economic empowerment. I come from a tiny village called Kanye. It's pretty big, I guess, in the in Botswana context. But essentially, what I have been taught to do is to essentially drive for impact, community impact. So I'm innately driven by projects that are not only there to generate profit for organizations. I mean, profit is quite important because it's a facilitator, but also at the same time, I'm more keen on projects that create a lasting and beneficial legacy for communities that projects operate in. And so, in that standpoint, I've basically seen a gap, in the market, where businesses basically and industries need to integrate ESG in order for them not only to comply, but also to unlock the opportunities that basically come with integrating ESG and sustainability. And in that, my vision really is around, or rather has always been about creating firm champions of innovation, ethical businesses, and inclusive growth, and basically championing or helping businesses to carry or to continue, or the ethos of shaping a mutually beneficial environment for the communities that they work in.
Excellent, excellent. And you mentioned that you had obviously a corporate career before working for a mine and a vice president or relatively successful company. So successful career. So I would like to think. But now obviously you're running on your own and you're driving this company that I could see is very important for you. So, and you mentioned about making lasting impact, right? So impactful investment. That's what you after in here, right? And it's something laudable, clearly. So would you say that's the core mission of the company? So if not, what is it that commissions, and how does that contribute to the sustainable development in the region?
Perfect. Thank you, Tony. At SquareGate, my company's mission is pretty clear. It is basically to drive sustainable investments that create a lasting economic and social value. And in that, we essentially focus on integrating ESG principles into investment decisions, as well as ensuring that projects, both in Botswana and broader Africa and elsewhere, basically, that are not only profitable but also that they are responsible. Our work essentially spans across the various sectors, from your energy to your mining, to your infrastructure, your agribusinesses, as well as healthcare. And we basically help businesses to navigate the regulatory landscapes around ESG and sustainability. But also at the same time, we know that by doing this, we essentially help contribute, or are directly helping to contribute towards a future where businesses thrive alongside communities, and realizing the balance
Yeah.
that people really want to see. And if you go on any platform currently, people are talking about equitable economies, and we can only achieve that if we actually embrace ESG and sustainability principles.
Okay, that's actually very very well known, and I could see that it keeps you very busy, right? Because I think you were telling me how you obviously going up and down, making sure that you put everything all the string together. But if it wasn't enough, you actually started Summit. So I don't know if I
I
need to
know.
say congratulations or commiseration, because I obviously have been involved in organizing events, and yeah, they are very 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 stressful thing. But there is a reason for that. So obviously I'm talking about the ideal summit here. So that's you, and I believe that's actually the first edition, if I'm correct. So I was wondering,
Yep.
so if you can tell us more about this summit. So what kind of so first of all, what inspired you to create that summit, right? What do you think makes it different for others that you've attended in the country, maybe outside? And what kind of outcome are you expecting for the Botswana investment landscape? And as you talk, what we're going to do, because we definitely want people to attend if they can. To I'm just going to display, at the bottom here, so the link where people can go and visit if they are interested. But over to you. Yeah.
Thank you, Tony. So, as Tony alluded, we are currently in the midst of organizing a summit. It's called the Ideal Summit, and Ideal essentially standing for inclusion, diversity, equity, access, and local empowerment principles. And this summit was essentially born out of a need to shift, the investment landscape in Botswana and Southern Africa towards a more inclusive and equitable opportunities. Just recently, our we just onboarded a new government in
Yeah.
Botswana, and their key themes have always been around equity by way of, obviously, economic, equity opportunities, equitable opportunities, as well as economic inclusion for marginalized communities. And the president of Botswana has gone on to show his commitment towards advancing these principles in all the engagements that he has basically been doing. And to meet the government halfway, as well as also to advance the mandate that we have already started on as Squaregate, we then conceptualized IDEAL. And IDEAL is such a very interesting platform in a way that where it comes from, it emanates from the realization that many investors, they want to engage with Africa's growth story, and they also need a structured platform that aligns with their investment principles, being sustainability and local empowerment. And with that, the summit itself is a way of creating that space where high potential projects can also embrace ESG as a growth enabler rather than just a compliance burden. And our goal in that is to catalyze investment that basically uplift communities while delivering strong returns for our various stakeholders. And so in that regard, we also have a major platform at the backdrop of the Investor Roundtable, which is happening on the 19th of March, which is next week, Wednesday, depending on where you are in the world. So it's going to be on next week, Wednesday, and we will be having a number of investors who are coming to Botswana to look at pre-vetted, projects. And we will also see a very unique opportunity that is very structured in a platform, way where projects, high potential projects that have been pre-vetted, will be actually pitching to the investors, and they'll be going through like investment clinics and hopefully we will see maybe 3 to 5 deals basically being advanced on that particular day. So this summit is just gonna close with the what we call the Ideal Main Summit, where we are gonna be hosting a plethora of multi-stakeholders from your government. And by way of government, we have so far, I'm pleased to actually inform that we will be hosting the Minister of Trade and Entrepreneurship here in Botswana. And then we will also be joined by a delegation from the Ministry of Environment, very critical to topics of sustainability. And then at the same time, we also have, I think, let me not jinx it, but there is like really good news in Africa. If you hear me saying number one, let's just put it like that so you understand what I'm trying to say. So I won't mention anything, don't jinx it. But yes, so from a stakeholder public private stakeholder standpoint, we are also expecting your high level CEOs, as well as managers, senior managers of different companies, from mining to agriculture to to tourism, to healthcare, as well as the energy sector, which is currently making rounds on media. And so yes, we will be basically talking about economic inclusion, best strategies, and how to basically advance this in Botswana's landscape and elsewhere as well. And then we will also be talking about inclusion or diversity as it pertains to our microeconomics, as well as the global perceptions on that. And I know, please don't ask me about what is currently going on our global landscape when it comes to DEI, but as Africa, we are absolutely still on our way to realize that no one is left behind, particularly the marginalized communities, and that they actually are given a platform and a fair chance to compete equitably with everybody else. So this is why the Ideal Summit is here, and it's a very unique platform. I'm happy to say that it's a brainchild of Squaregate. I have an incredible team that basically keep on saying, you know what, boss lady, we can actually achieve this.
I must say, so I think as you were talking about that, so we got a feeling that you've been running this platform, this summit for years, because the way you're talking about that and what you've been able to put together, I'm really seriously impressed. And I'm a man, I've been in the sector with the renewables energy and also been to conferences for the last decade, and I've seen many of them. And I know what it takes to bring together such a project. That's what I'm saying for a first edition, for the kind of people you're able to bring forward, that is really impressive. Like I say, congratulations so far. Obviously, the summit still need to happen, right? But there's always anything that can go wrong. But I'm sure that you thought about everything. But you mentioned something that is very fundamental, right? Because the key thing in those summits, people like to go there and know that they come back with something tangible. And you've been talking about project that you pre-vetted, right? So the high potential project, in different sectors. You talk about agribusiness, technology, green energy. So that's great. So I think people will want to go and see that. I'm actually curious to see what that book actually will look like. Unfortunately, I can't make it to Botswana, but as I promised you, so we'll have a conversation for next year. But I know Botswana, like I said, I've been there many times, and it's a country that I just love. So my point may not be that objective, but can you tell me what makes Botswana a unique and attractive destination for investors in these areas?
Tony, you see my smile when I'm about to talk about my country. That is literally the pride that we carry as a country. Botswana is uniquely positioned as a very, as in a number one in Southern Africa and even broader Africa investment destination for very numerous reasons. Number one is our stable political climate. Tony, just last year, in October, the entire world witnessed something incredible. Botswana basically went on to vote for a completely new government. When we're talking about a structural overhaul, We literally went on, we took it on the pause, and we said we're not happy with the then government, and we went on to actually vote for what we want. And use the seamless transition in governance, the party that had been ruling for over 50 years basically saying I'm gonna take the baton and actually give it to the next custodian, being the now government under the leadership of President Boko. And basically doing that in the most seamless and peaceful manner. I think we've actually never seen it before. And so it can only happen in Botswana, really. And so that is the reason why if you're looking for reasons to come to Africa, let Botswana be that reason, basically. And make sure that you come to Botswana first before you could go elsewhere. And then the second aspect is essentially, our business friendly regulatory environment that makes it very easier for investors to basically establish long-term ventures here in Botswana. And then the third reason basically being that we have an abundance of untapped potential in sectors like your green energy, your agribusiness, your technology. We are still greenfield as when it concerns these sectors. And if you're looking for a reason to invest in Africa or Botswana, and you're looking to venture into technology, we need solutions. We need technological innovations around healthcare and how to better deliver healthcare to communities. And then also at the same time, our agricultural potential. Don't get me started on our potential for green energy. We have immense amount of land. And also if you thought it's hot where you are, try coming to Botswana, and you will actually see. So it only makes sense that we actually harvest the sun to power our homes, to power our operations, and all of that. So yes, Tony, this is what we are offering as Botswana. And really our natural resources, our skilled workforce. Let me just put it out there. I know people have been rumoring and saying that there's free education in Botswana. Actually, yes, all of us have gone to schools, public schools, basically sponsored by the government. I heard a rumor that I need to bring back that money. I will, but our parents basically did a fair bit of, the infrastructural, development to facilitate that. And so, from an educational standpoint, we're probably the most educated country. I think. 8 out of 10 people that you meet in Botswana, yeah, that's actually questionable. We can debate on that at another time, but just let me have it right now. So 8 out of 10 Botswana basically have their degrees, and so from a skilled workforce, that's what we have. And then obviously we have like government incentives, that further enhance the attractiveness of our country. And so through the summit itself, we are essentially showcasing, the real investment opportunities that basically align with ESG, while offering competitive returns to our investors. So really, I think this is what we stand to offer. I'm happy to be your main host if you do want to put money in Botswana, because SquareGate also does investor due diligence, and we help essentially link you with projects that resonate with your type of investment.
Excellent. Well, I think it's very difficult to debate you on that, because everything you mentioned there, I think, because I've been in the place, so I would say you don't exaggerate too much, I would say. But it's definitely a great country. So I think I love it. And when you're talking about, yes, obviously the country has to be congratulated for the peaceful transfer of power. I think all of us in Africa, and I'm saying that being from Cameroon, so we all have to learn from it. Yeah, and even beyond Africa, right? Looking at what's doing in some places, up north, So who is sort of a one of band GI? I think they also have something they may want to learn. So absolutely, and yeah, I think you've made a very strong case, and I hope and I believe so. The summit attendees, will be able to your guests will be able to witness that for themselves. So that is great. So I want to bring you back into the GI aspect, right? Because I know the summit will be focusing on inclusion, diversity, equity, and access, and also local empowerment, which is very important for me, right? Because what we're talking about here is a new model whereby whoever is coming to invest in Africa in general, it's not just about catch, grab, and run away now. So how do you contribute, make sure that you get the local population to this is to benefit from that, to learn as well, to get the skills so that we can develop a local supply chain. So that's very important. That's why I like as well the local empowerment bit. Yeah. But how do this principle, right? The inclusion, diversity, equity, access, local empowerment. So how those principles align with Squaregate values, and how have you planned to reflect them during that summit?
Yeah, thank you, Tony. So, a Square Gate is literally built on the foundation of inclusion, equity, and empowerment. And on another interview, I think after this we need to come up with another one where we're just talking about my background, and my how I was brought up and all of that. But innately, the company is founded on the foundation and background of these principles, because one, they're very dear to me, and that they're also very dear to my country. And these principles essentially guide our approach to investment, that essentially ensures that that growth is actually shared, not exclusive. I think we've seen in most countries, and particularly here in Africa, where growth is like only for a few select, and then you have such a huge gap that basically leaves the marginalized communities further marginalized. And so for us, really, this is what our approach is all about, ensuring that that there is growth that is actually shared, not exclusive. And so at the Ideal Summit, we are essentially creating an environment where local businesses, your SMEs, your women entrepreneurs, and your underrepresented groups can essentially connect with investors on an equal playing field, where it is through mentorship, whether it's just through mentorship or basically funding opportunities or policy discussions. Our goal with the summit is to ensure that no one is left behind. And I was just having a chat with one of my investors, excuse me.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were saying that you were talking to
Yeah,
one of
Tony.
your investors. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, so I was having a chat with one of my investor friends, indigenous investors from here in Botswana. And that's another topic that we need to really advance. And we were talking about, how the early stage projects that are actually in need of funding
Hmm.
are basically, left under the table. We only get to hear about this high potential projects when by chance, and this happens like maybe once in like 10 years, if not 7 years, where you see like an underground project basically getting the attention of very big players. And the reason why this is the case, where you could wake up literally the next morning and see a very big company investing in a company that you never even thought possible that it actually exists, and everybody not being able to to understand, like, oh, okay, like what's that project here to do and all of that. And half the time the local communities around that project don't even know that that project is actually taking off. And the reason why this is the case is because we don't have a platform, a shared platform that actually highlights these high impact projects, and where you could, as Tony if you wanted to invest in Botswana, for example, where do you start? So if you don't know, Shamil, you probably gonna wanna go to, you know, your investment trade centers and all of that. And obviously, from that standpoint, you're looking at, okay, show me your project. So they do have their own curated projects that they, I mean, pre-vetted projects that they've been chasing investments towards. But half the time, these are projects that have already done maybe several rounds of,
Mhm.
you know, of capital raise and all of that. And so what happens to the projects that are high potential but demand like way too much money in terms of like de-risking such projects? And you as Tony would be that person that actually wanna jump onto that project early stage. Where do you find it? And so it was that as well that we decided to actually we're going to be launching a deal book on the 19th of March,
Mhm.
and it basically encompasses all these high impact projects that have been pre-vetted. We've conducted due diligence on these projects, and we are essentially saying to the investor that, hey, this is the menu, just pick what you like, and we facilitate the rest. So obviously this is not done in silos, it's done in collaboration with our government stakeholders and you know, our regulatory bodies and all of that. So we are bringing to the people that platform where we're saying that, okay, high impact projects that listed here or featured on our deal book, and if you need to basically have a further conversation with them, or you need due diligence, or you need more information on them, don't worry, that work has already been pre-done. And therefore, if you want, go to site or whatever, and this is the verification of you know, of such projects. So it's quite interesting that we are actually advancing inclusion and empowerment from even an investment standpoint. So
Mm.
it's an
Yeah.
amazing platform, really, and I don't want anybody to miss this.
I'm sure they won't. I'm sure they won't, right? So, I mean, the way you're talking about that, clearly, we could see the passion. We could see also how you've thought about all those different aspects, and we could see that clearly for you, it's a mission that you want to carry. So, for those fortunate attendees, you know, what would you say are the most because everything looks great so far around here, but what are the most exciting aspect of the summit? So I know we just talked
Okay.
about having access to the deal book, you know, to some investor roundtable, private matchmaking. But let me not just say that, you know, let me allow you to list the most exciting part that, like you say, nobody will want to miss.
Tony, I'm so glad that you already mentioned the parts that excite you the most about this program. So I think half of my job is done. And so,
You don't
yes.
want to hire me then.
Well, you know what? I think we need to think about that. Yes. And so, really, I think what our stakeholders, in the form of attendees, should really look forward to is high impact engagement. One, the investor roundtable. Oh my goodness, this is where key decision makers are going to be there discussing, you know, emerging opportunities and market trends. We know we live in a world right now where Africa, and I'm sure the world over, is currently watching everything and wondering, are we gonna I know we haven't really started talking about it yet, but I know it's in every economist's mind whether or not we are going to witness another, you know, global recession. This is literally where markets are. And so this information is quite important, and it's going to be shared there in terms of like obviously the current market trends. But also at the same time, we have brought investors closer to projects and closer to home. So we don't have to go elsewhere because they're coming right at home. So I think this is a very unique opportunity, and it's not one investor; it's several of them,
Mm.
from your private equity firms to your debt, you know, your institutional financiers, to your debt facilitators, and you know, your family homes and angel investors. So we have like a broad list of investors who are also within the Squaregate network, investor network, and coming to look at specific projects in Botswana. We are still onboarding a couple other projects that really would be interested. So if your viewers, Tony, through you, if they are interested and they are around ecotourism, agro processing, mining, especially exploration, as well as healthcare and energy as well. So if they are interested in actually having their projects listed and featured on our deal book, I think this would be the incredible time for them to basically do that. And then the second aspect of it that I would say top of my list, number two thing to basically find yourself excited over is the fact that we are going to be doing private matchmaking.
Mm,
So the sessions are going to be providing, a one-on-one investment dialogue between the project and the project owners and the potential investors. So what better way, Tony, to actually understand the project, not through third party, but actually sitting down with the person and being able to feel that energy and being able to really tell whether or not those people are your potential, partners for impact, for your money even. So I think this is a very unique platform that we are bringing to the table. And then the third aspect of it is obviously the discussions that are going to be fire. We are going to be basically getting keynotes from about three ministries. All very critical to the investment landscape in Botswana. I have mentioned prior that we have confirmed the attendance of the Honorable Minister of Trade and Industry, and then we also have, the Honorable Minister of, of Energy, yeah, the Honorable Minister of Energy, and then the Honorable Minister of Environment, rather, sorry, in the past administration used to be one ministry. But also we also have other critical stakeholders that we should be getting their confirmation just soon. But also there are other partners that are quite critical. Your EPCM, if you're in South Africa, you probably know this investment company. We also have EP Worth, who have been making rounds in not just the mining but also in the tech space, both in South Africa. Also, they are invested in the UAE. So these are really big people that are looking to basically put money, and they're really interested in Botswana. And so you're going to have an opportunity to dialogue with them. And then we also have representation from the South Korea Business Association. The CEO is going to be there, quite exciting, I know. And then we also have Africa Diamond Manufacturers Association. So really, it looks like all the cool guys are going to be there. I would want to be in that platform myself. But yeah, this is what we're bringing to the table, Tony. And I'm hoping that it is actually enough to if people didn't know that they want to be there, I'm hoping that this is going to be enough to convince you otherwise. And it's not just going to be a talk shop. And this is what I keep saying. And looking at Tony, I've been in conferences for over 15 years. I know the ins and outs. And really, I also know some conferences are quite predictable because you already know we're going to be there, and then there's going to be like 15 speeches that are given, and then the day is over, right? And then you would come with a fire question that you really are genuinely concerned about, and you wanna interest the stakeholders too, and then you don't get the opportunity to do that. But here, it's going to be different. The way we have actually structured our agenda is in such a way that actually facilitates the much needed dialogue, and we're going to be seeing decisions actually being made. So as I mentioned, we do want to see a couple of deals being signed, and we do want to see a couple of interested parties or expressions of interest basically being signed up for project facilitation and capital facilitation. And so really this is what we're bringing.
excellent, excellent. That's great. I think I was gonna move to my next and last question, but let me just go a little bit off script here, right? So, because people may be thinking maybe I'm being too nice to Shamil. I think yeah, it can't be that perfect. Okay, let me flip it around a little bit. So I know you thought about everything, and then you said it well. I must admit, you're a great salesperson. That I must say, right? And I know that because I'm meant to sell myself. So, what is that? Do you think you would have liked to do better if you had more time? Yeah, that's the first question.
If I
And
had, yeah,
okay,
go on.
The second
Looking,
question, the second
yeah.
question is, everything looks exciting, yeah, but there's something that's sort of revolutionizing the world. And I know in Africa, I don't see a lot of information about that, and I'm thinking about definitely pushing that a little bit more as well. For me, is the advent of AI, artificial intelligence. So that you know, obviously. So I just want to know. So what is that you would have liked to do better if you had more time? Let's imagine you have another month to prepare to prepare that first one, and then the second thing is, so where is AI in all of that for you in your summit?
Hmm.
Ah,
Hmm.
good questions for
Maybe
you.
maybe. um, Tony, I'm gonna be very honest with you.
Please.
I have an incredible team.
Hmm.
We literally took our time to craft this, do market research. Is this really important? Do people really care about inclusion? Do they really care about local empowerment? Is this something that they would willingly want to pay their money to basically, come to converse about? Is it important to the people that matter? And I can tell you that when we conceptualized the Ideal Summit, we had several backs and forth in terms of like, is does it really make sense? Is a new concept. It's a huge word, that we brought a square gate, and obviously, we need everybody to the table. And so, are people informed enough about these principles? So that on its own, the fact that we thought about it like that, it's nerve-wracking, because you're like, are they really going to get it? When you say ideal, are they really going to understand what you're referring to? And do you think this is something that people really want to converse about or not? And then, even worse, around the investor roundtable. So, as you know, investors just, most of them do want to deal with Shamil, and then they want to say, okay, obviously, I trust Shamil because I've known Shamil over this period of time. And so now you're saying, I'm having a broader platform for you to basically come pay people to pitch to you, and you input, you give feedback, tell them whether or not you are interested, that type of situation. It's scary because, number one, you are like, okay, am I going to lose my am I going to lose my people here? What's going to happen? And all of that. So yeah, we did think about it. We did think about like all the possible things that could go wrong, and most importantly, all the possible things that could go right convinced us otherwise. And I don't think that there's anything that we would have done different. I know, because it's embedded in our process, Tony. And then the second aspect to that, Tony,
You're such
I
a
mean,
great spin doctor. Sorry, man.
I'm being
You
very honest with
excellent.
you.
You are
we
excellent.
are also we are also very intentional. So since December, we started, before we could even release any material, the draft papers that we had, we actually started circulating to our people and say, would you be interested in this, and all of that. So by the time we actually released the official communique to invitations and all of that, and this was like the entire January and following up through February and March. And I think the team has actually been putting in a lot of effort, and we've basically gone everywhere where we wanted to go. And really, at this point in time, it's up to the stakeholders, how they want to basically, engage on this. And so I think, and this is me basically being also pretty much optimistic and saying that, you know what, I know we're going to pull it off. And who did I not invest, who did I not engage with or invite? And I go to my list and I say, actually, we have invited everybody else that we wanted to be in that platform. And obviously, the community itself, the broader community, I think we've been in media so far, we've been all over. We are on LinkedIn here. And if anybody missed it, it's by chance.
Mm, okay.
Mm.
Excellent. Good. So you didn't respond to the AI bit though.
Ah, right.
What are you
So
gonna say about
yeah. So AI is absolutely a global phenomenon. And right now, we as Squigget, we are also basically embracing it by way of, we are currently working on a software that essentially incorporates AI in, our data management from your environmental stuff to your social, as well as governance, reporting metrics. And so it's something that we are absolutely embracing ourselves. And obviously, now with the advent of AI TVs and AI knowledge in itself, in and of itself, I think what we are also doing is embracing AI applications with regards to our sector, and obviously in finance as well. So I think this is something that we are absolutely embracing. And yeah, I hope I answered
No,
sufficiently.
that's fine.
Very, yeah, very
Now,
random.
don't worry, it wasn't a trick question though. It's just out of
Yeah,
curiosity. Yeah, that's absolutely fine.
yeah.
Yeah, so I think like I say, I can carry on talking to you for hours and hours, but it's fair to say to let's move on to the last question. But before that, I can tell you one thing that you did miss is to invite me earlier, right? So because I would have had a chance to.
Oh, Tony. Yes, you
You
know
missed
what?
that one, yeah.
I'm just like, how did I not connect earlier? Hey, yeah, but yeah, I'm glad nonetheless that we are
Yeah.
now here and we are actually conversing. We would love to keep you as a Square Gate friend for sure.
Thank you very much. I think the invitation accepted. So, Shamil, I think you've been fantastic. So, thank you very much for talking about the. I know we've been laughing a lot, but nonetheless, talking about this very important summit, and I think the acronym is actually right. It's an ideal summit to go to. People want to invest into Botswana, want to invest into SADC, want to invest into Africa. I believe that's a place that you want to go. So, Shamil, I want to have you had the last word. So that's my last question. But the way we're gonna do that, which is slightly differently. So I think I'm just gonna be going to backstage. I want to leave you all the floor because I think you're big enough to obviously have all the floor by yourself. And I just want to say, so let's imagine you just have 1 minute for that, right? So what is the message that you would like to share to potential investors or stakeholders about why they should attend your ideal summit? I want the smoking gun here, right? So you just have 1 minute to do that. So I'm just gonna go in the background and I let you do that. Are you ready for that?
I am
Okay.
ready.
Okay, let me go in the background and you have the floor all by yourself. So let's go.
Okay. So I guess this is my pitch moment, right? Okay, that's a couple of seconds gone already. But yeah, now that I'm left with just you and I, so to all the potential investors and to all, the business leaders and policymakers, I want you to understand that the Ideal Summit is more than just a conference. What this summit basically represents is, it's change in and of itself. And so this is an opportunity for you to be a part of Botswana's investment evolution and Southern Africa or Africa's investment evolution, where sustainability, profitability, as well as inclusion basically are meshed together. And so with that, whether or not you are looking for high growth projects, whether you're looking for strategic partnerships or insights into Botswana's economy, I think this platform basically gives you exactly that. And so to anybody else who is looking for funding, or you're looking or you have a project and you don't even know where to come, I think the platform itself is sufficient. And to all the ESG experts and sustainability experts, please do come so that we decide on how to so that we share on how to better report on inclusion, diversity, equity, access, and local empowerment. It's our shared mandate, and let's do it. Let's rock.
Excellent. That was brilliant, Jamil. So excellent. Thank you very much for doing it. Like I say, you've done well. And I'm sure people listening to you obviously have found more than one reason for them to turn up, to attend, to support you, but also to support themselves, right? Because people are always looking for where are the great places, where are the great opportunities for Africa, where are the projects. Definitely you have in here a platform that Shamil with her team put together to make it happen. Shamil, I want to thank you one more time talking to you. So, like you say, so it's the first time we having this conversation. So it won't be the last, definitely. So we certainly would definitely have you back to after the summit. I suspect just to have some debriefing, understanding what has happened and how are you planning for potential next summit or next initiative that SquareGate will be leading. And it'll be a pleasure for us to support you the best we can. So thank you very much for your time. It's been fun. Yeah.
Thank you
So
so much, Tony, and to the
excellent.
listeners too.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Emil. Thank you for that. So now there you go. Right, you see, so we've brought Shamil, and then I say she turned everything upside down, right? See, she was fantastic. She was definitely phenomenal. So thank you, Shamil, for sharing so much about your insight, but also your vision with us today. Definitely, you brought a level of energy that clearly we needed, right? Sometimes people say, "Hey, Tony, you have a lot of energy," but I think today I found somebody that has even more energy than me, right? And I just want to salute her for that. So your passion, Shamil, for sustainable development and your leadership at SquareGate, I believe is something remarkable and truly inspiring. And the ideal summit, as I say, the acronym is actually word chosen. It sounds for me like a game changer for Botswana and the broader investment community. And I think I'm excited to see what kind of impact it could have. And like I say to our audience, like I said, we were very happy to bring such an opportunity to you today. And then if you are interested to be part of this transformative event, you want to make sure that you visit the website. I think I've just uh, floated that down, at the bottom. You could see that. So Square Gate Group, / coming soon. It's not coming soon. It should be happening, Shmir. Nah, it's happening now, yeah. For more details. So let's support initiatives that drive inclusion, diversity, sustainable growth. So thank you, Shamil, for joining us. Thank you for all the viewers that will obviously be watching it. So share your comment with us, to share with people that you know so that they get to know about this summit and they participate if they can. And until next time, so this is me, so your servant, Tony T. I'm signing off. So thank you very much for a beautiful day, and looking forward to our next interview. Take care, guys. Bye bye.